Now we are going to discuss the NGOs. Actually, NGOs have been instrumental in driving green recovery efforts in Ukraine, spearheading initiatives that promote sustainable practices and environmental resilience. Their collaboration with international partners, but also local communities, has significantly advanced the implementation of eco-friendly projects and technologies across the country. So I would like to invite on this stage Natalia Holodova, Program Manager, NGO Eco Club, and Valeria Kolomiets, Regenerate Ukraine Director of Worldwide Fund for Nature. So, this panel will be divided into two parts. First, we will have lightning talks between Natalia Holodova and Valeria Kolomiets, and then I will invite here my next guest. You're welcome to see it. Could you please explain briefly how you are promoting a green transition through your work in Ukraine, and are there any particular lessons learned you would like to highlight from the CSO perspective, and do you have recommendations how a green recovery could be achieved faster and more inclusively?
Thank you, Katya, for the word. Together with the environmental NGO, we prepared a joint statement on how the green reconstruction should look like. I will not stop on this statement. Valeria will tell more about that, but I want to tell about Eco Club's experience. We are a small organization based in Rivne, but operating in all Ukraine. Together with municipalities, we work on deployment of renewables projects all around Ukraine. Especially, we construct solar power plants on hospitals and water utilities. We help municipalities in all stages of the project's implementation, from selection of communities, during the preparation of project documentation, during the tender procedures, and commissioning. All solar power plants which we installed now are in fully owned by municipalities and bring benefits for municipalities. Russian strikes led to blackouts, highlighting the need for energy independence and decentralized generation. That's why we are doing that. I would like to tell you a few numbers. 1/4 of all Ukrainian communities applied to Eco Club standard with renewable projects. 20 solar power plants we already finished since 2022, and 30 more we are going to finish this year. 5-7 years, this is the average payback period for solar power plants on hospitals and water utilities. Why solar power plants? This is a fast solution and long-term benefits. Renewable projects will serve for the community for 20 years. And this means that the 20 years local residents will receive benefits from renewable energy. This is like the direct energy transition measures. This seems that almost a perfect example of climate change, climate actions, and the strengthening of decentralization. Let me tell you an example. On the beginning of this year, we announced a tender for construction of 3 solar power plants for water utilities and in Sumy, Myrhorod, and Bilhorod-Dnistrovsky. Now all of them are operating, and their payback period is 6-7 years. Last month, we had a bad example of how they was used by municipality. The Sumy was without electricity because of Russian attacks for 3 and for 3 hours city was provided with water because of the work of solar power station. And while the process was not always smooth, we didn't face any fundamental barriers. However, we did see some challenges which we need to solve. Perhaps the biggest barrier is the need to add additional cost for quality control for all stages of project implementation. The governmental agencies that are supposed to provide this do not always do it. The second barrier is the lack of awareness of decision makers about the renewable projects in some communities. And the third barriers is the lack of technical and organizational capacity in municipalities to implement such projects by themselves. We are calling that it is important to create conditions of deployment renewable energy in municipalities. This should be financial instruments with a very transparent decision-making process without involvement of political will of anybody. It should be a very clear criteria, and it should work for municipalities on the decentralized level. The interest should be in hryvnia. Also, it is need to be a clear political support for such projects at the governmental level. And technical support should be provided at all stages of the project's implementation. Of course, the capacity building for municipalities should be included in all reconstruction projects. Yeah, thank you for your attention, and let's cooperate. Valeria?
Thank you, Natalia. Dear participants, so my name is Valeria Kolomiyets. I'm Regenerate Ukraine Initiative Director in WWF Ukraine office. Yes, you see, yesterday during the SAM panel discussion, I heard very interesting thing. One participant said that the logistic is the core of the state. You see, I'm not agree with it, because I think and I believe that the core of every state, every country is the people, human capital. And of course, when we're talking about recovery process, sometimes we are focused on some concrete issue, green recovery or even economy recovery or something else. But we need to understand that our core, human, people, they want all of this. They want growing economy, they want healthy environment, they want good and health water for their children. That's why we in our organization try to link all of these things. We understand that during Russia military invasion, our Ukrainian roads and transport infrastructure is under high pressure. During also, we understand that we need to build more roads and to link our businesses, our local communities, our peoples with all of the world and other European and not even European countries. Meanwhile, we also understand, like biggest in the world environmental organization, that for us important to save the biodiversity and nature during this building road process. That's why we start to cooperate with the Ministry of Infrastructure. First of all, we work on this standard about roads, wildlife corridors, which was adopted last year. Also, we mapping two concrete region in Carpathian region with ecological corridors, and also right now we are start working with the Ministry of Environment and Ministry of Infrastructure on the big project which founded by Jeff. It's big global environmental fund which right now funding this project, which include our preparation work, how we see, how we can include biodiversity in nature protection in the earlier stage of planning of road infrastructure. Yes, and it's only one concrete example how TSO can cooperate with the state during recovery process. But of course, it's not only one example of our organization, but most important, it's this QR code, because we are not only one who cooperate, who provide some concrete, big, maybe sometimes medium or small projects on recovery, and can contribute to this process and build good and straight relationship with the state authorities. So, if you go to this link, to this QR code, you will find this joint statement, which Natalia was mentioned during her presentation. And it's not just text about all of good things and against some bad things. No, totally. The list of green Ukraine and EU organization, NGO, we propose to the government how we can concrete contribute on recovery process. First of all, we identify that it's EU accession process. We have very good experience, many of our organization, not only in some legislation work, but also in advocacy work, even in EU level. We can see it from the final text of Ukraine facility. Also, we can cooperate how our state need to use this principle of do not significant harms. How also we can build nature-based infrastructure, not only road, but of course energy and other things. And also, of course, we can contribute on making a renewable energy transition. And not the last, of course, it's fighting against corruption in the environmental and nature field, which I very high right now, and unfortunately don't identify by our state like something like something important and what we need to fight. So, colleagues, I invite you to see our joint statement, to see the site of Build Ukraine Back Better platform of Green Ukraine and EU organization, to join our work and to cooperate with us on Build Ukraine Better and Green, of course. Slava Ukraini. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now I would like to invite here on the stage Roman Puchko, co-founder and CEO of the Rethink in Ukrainian NGO, and Theodore Henein, professor of construction material science, University of Leeds, UK. As we already heard, Ukraine has achieved significant success in implementing green recovery projects, with NGOs and international partners playing a vital role. So it's very interesting to find out how we would like to see your presentations to find out about solutions that such projects will bring to this important endeavor. Thank you.
Thank you so much. First of all, I want to express my gratitude to the organizers from both Ukrainian and German sides for this opportunity to present this amazing project to you at this wonderful conference. So it's about safe, sustainable and swift reconstruction of Ukraine, and it's funded by the program Innovate Ukraine of FCDO and by the government of United Kingdom. With the extremely significant support of the Embassy of United Kingdom in Ukraine. A few words about the consortium. It consists of 4 leading research organizations from the UK, Leeds, Sheffield, Oxford and Imperial College London. It includes 2 universities from Ukraine, Lviv Polytechnics and Rivne. It includes our technological partner from the Netherlands, a cutting-edge innovator in the thing we are going to work on, C2CA. It includes Ecoplus Logic, the company which is dealing with waste management, both household waste but also construction and demolition waste. And it includes our organization Rethink that I'm representing today as co-founder and CEO, who is more or less regional coordinator for Ukraine. It's not a secret and probably not a surprise to you that massive shelling has caused a lot of destruction in Ukraine, and there are tens of millions of tons of rubble laying on the ground all over the place, and all our reconstruction efforts will at the same time demand extremely high quantities of construction materials. So we have to use and reuse what we have locally on the ground. Everybody is willing to have Ukraine's reconstruction greener, more inclusive, better, etc., etc. And the role of NGOs in this process is crucial because there are so many concepts out there that need to be explained, defined, operationalized, etc. So Ukrainian NGOs, as one of my good friends said in London last year, are not only watchdogs or campaigners, they are all kinds of dogs. And these all kinds of dogs are raising awareness about the concepts of green recovery, are operationalizing what green recovery is, and they are also initiating extremely innovative pilot projects that involve world's best experts, one of whom is Theo. So I pass microphone to my colleague.
Thank you, Roman, and thank you for your very kind words. So basically this project is about the reconstruction from rubble. And the rubble is mainly concrete, and concrete is mainly made up of four things: sand, stone, cement, and water. Now, what we want to do is to get back these four necessary ingredients to rebuild. So the goal is to take a demolished building and turn it back into a new building. As Roman said earlier, we have our partner from the Netherlands who will deploy for the first time a mobile production line that will separate the rubble and at the same time be able to reuse it on the spot. And it's mobile so that we do not need to have very high capital investment in the future. When we finish rebuilding in one place, we can then take it to another. Now, there are obviously many steps in that. Back. Yeah, so there are obviously many steps in that, and this involves, first of all, separation, and then obviously the reformulation. So why is it important to rebuild from rubble? Because construction actually is the concrete, the cement, contributes a lot to climate change, has a lot of CO2 emissions. It's almost 1 ton per ton of cement, the CO2 emitted. And basically what these numbers are saying here is that if we recycle the amounts we know we can recycle today, we can save 75% of those CO2 emissions. If Ukraine and other places are going to rebuild, it's going to be catastrophic, not just for Ukraine, but for the whole world, because of the need to act also on climate change at the same time. So, and other than the CO2 emissions, it is the materials. So you do not need to remove all new fresh materials from the earth, virgin materials you can replace with conservative 80%. In terms of the building stock, so every location is going to be unique, and Ukraine is unique in two main things. One is that it used asbestos for a very long time, and asbestos has very detrimental proven health effects, and unfortunately, if this is not resolved or thought of properly, it will cause issues for the future generation. The second unique thing about the building stock of Ukraine is that I think they're one of the only places in the world where a lot of the buildings in Mariupol actually were made from a different type of cement called geopolymer cement, and we cannot mix these two together. So this flow chart here, basically it's showing the steps that we will have to take and the measures to do chemical sensing on the ground, so we can know which parts are which, avoid the asbestos for now, and then move on with the main concrete parts. And as I said before, we want to get back the stone, the sand, and the cement, and if we can, the water as well. We have many upcycling pathways to use these in many different applications, and we will try to test as many of them as possible. But this is not a research project. This is a demonstration project, and the aim is to deploy and rebuild. Now, our dissemination, apart from the technical aspects, so we will make a conference, maybe not as big as this one, but we will make a conference in Ukraine. We will go to Ukraine, and we will collaborate with many associations to spread out the technical information. But there is also a very social aspect to this project, and I think this is where a lot of work from Roman will be done, is that we need to raise awareness. I think one of our colleagues earlier mentioned about, for example, women in the workforce, women in construction. I'm not sure it's not only in Ukraine, but these are the kind of things that we need to, and it's not about teaching women construction. I think it's the opposite. It's actually training those who have the mindset that women cannot work in the construction sector. Those are the ones who need the training, actually. So it is very ambitious, but we hope we can lay the foundations for EDI awareness, asbestos awareness, and also reusing waste. For a lot of people, waste is a waste and they don't want something new out of it. But if we can convince people to see that as a resource from their own land and not waste, then we would have achieved at least partial success. I still have one more slide. So, it's the last slide.
Right.
Beyond Ukraine, basically what this graph is saying is that it's not only in a war or disaster destroyed places that this is an issue. Most of the Western world built their infrastructure after World War II, and all the buildings are coming to the end of life. So the technology that we want to demonstrate and implement, and hopefully Ukraine will be the world leader of it in the future, is necessary. The time is coming. Already we see all over the world buildings are falling down. There is a need, and this is, I think, the way to motivate the funding, not only from a few, because this is basically going to benefit everyone. So thank you, and I'm sorry for the delay.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your brilliant idea with upcycling. I hope that it will really function. Thank you. But talking about destroyed buildings, I have to mention that actually behind every destroyed building are destroyed destinies. So I wish that there will be found solutions for Ukraine to ensure the safety and to save the lives. And I wish Ukraine to live in peace. And actually, that's it for me, for my part on this stage. And I would like to hand over to my colleague, James Waterhouse, who will moderate the rest of today's plan of Recovery Forum. Thank you very much for your attention, and thank you for being with us.